Beautiful people, hey, what is up? Today I want to talk about gratitude, the stuff of life. Coming up. Today is April 8th, 2020, and we are in the midst of a global pandemic. COVID-19, coronavirus, all of that. 7.2 billion people in the world today, and this is not the first pandemic. There have been many, but this is the first time that we've had 7.2 billion people potentially impacted. So how do we stay grateful in these moments? How do we make gratitude the stuff of life in these real challenging moments? There are businesses shut down. There are immense economic impacts, but most importantly, there are people losing their lives. And we have a responsibility and we have the ability to lessen the impact of this virus by following the rules that we're asked to follow, like social distancing and other rules. It is amazing to be living in this time and to have the kind of technology that we have that none of our grandparents, great-grandparents, or forefathers had. We are able to take a step back from life, to literally take a pause from life in a lot of ways, and to evaluate and to really take stock of how we are thinking about and treating ourselves and other people, not only where we live, but all over the world. That is something to be grateful for. Shelters in place, stay-at-home orders, all of that. This is not the first time that we've had these things occur. Maybe in our lifetime it is. For me it is. But it's happened before. And the resiliency of the human spirit is something to be grateful for. I can't say that all of us have a roof over our heads or food to eat that is plentiful or every human basic need met, but I can say that if you're watching, you have air in your lungs and your heart is beating, and that's something to be grateful for. As a Christian, I like to think about biblical truth. Where in the Bible can I find something like this? There's many plagues that happened throughout biblical times, but really what the Lord brought me to was the prophet Ezekiel, when he was walking through the valley of dry bones and he was discouraged. And maybe at that moment he couldn't find ways to make gratitude the stuff of life in those moments, in that moment. And so the Lord gave him instructions. He told Ezekiel to speak to the dry bones, that they would live. Now, this was a person, Ezekiel. And because of his faith and his obedience to God, he spoke to the dry bones. And those things started rattling, and those things started coming together, and flesh came back to the bones. And a whole army was created. Now, I'm not here to argue about biblical history or the deciphering of biblical history, but I will say it's funny because you can't argue experience no matter how hard you try. So I just want to encourage you today that miracles still happen, that your prayers matter, and that gratitude is the stuff of life and you're living. So thank God. And we'll continue to pray for everybody impacted, for miraculous turnarounds like we're hearing about. Those are the stories that we should focus on as we push through this and do our part. God bless you. You're beautiful.